Hey, welcome back to the series that we've been doing on Red's Taylor's version. I've been going track by track to see if I can find a deeper meaning within each of the songs. Today we are on track 5, which is titled All Too Well. I know this is regarded as like her best song ever. It even has a 10-minute version. This video will just be focusing on the bite-sized version. I'll go through the lyrics of this one, and then when I finally get to the 10-minute version, I do planning on watching that short film and everything and giving my thoughts about that. But today's video, like I said, will just be the short version and then also giving my guesses to see like what will happen in the 10-minute version, since I don't really know about that one either. But I do know that, like I said, this is like her biggest and best song ever, and also most of her track 5 albums are the most emotional or best songs, you could say. I listened to the last 2 albums, which was, I wrote it down, You're on Your Own Kid, and then I also listened to My Tears Ricochet. So I'm curious to see how this one will stack up to the rest, but let's just get started. Also, I just realized that the short version of the song is still almost 6 minutes.
I walked through the door with you. The air was cold, but something about it felt like home somehow. And I left my scarf there at your sister's house, and you've still got it in your drawer even now.
I just realized that I'm definitely going to have to pull up the lyrics as I go through this because there's going to be so many. So let me pull that up and then I'll talk about this. So the first lines of that said, I walked through the door with you, the air was cold, but something about it felt like home somehow. And I left my scarf there at your sister's house, and you still got it in a drawer even now. That kind of makes me think of reminiscing on a relationship and how maybe they didn't give their stuff back to each other. But so far, I think this is going to be a song that might be just like someone's stream of consciousness of her just literally telling us the story. So I'm ready to hear a story.
Oh, your sweet disposition, my wide-eyed gaze. We're singing in the car, getting lost upstate. Autumn leaves falling down like pieces into place, and I can picture it after all these days. And I know it's long gone, and that magic's not here no more. And I might be okay, but I'm not fine at all.
Okay. So the next verse said, oh, your sweet disposition and my wide-eyed gaze. We're singing in the car, getting lost upstate. Autumn leaves falling down like pieces into place, and I can picture it even after all these days. And I know it's long gone and the magic's not here no more, but I might be okay, but I'm not fine at all. The autumn leaves part is kind of sticking out to me because that kind of makes me think of the idea of fate, where you're thinking that this is like a puzzle that's coming together and it's exactly the way it's supposed to. And that kind of makes me thinking of someone being naive, because I think about that with wide-eyed gazed, where it's saying that, you have maybe really high expectations, or you're thinking about things that you haven't even gotten to that point, and you're already exceeding those things, and like you're biting off more than what you can chew, almost in a sense. So it's saying like maybe this relationship was going to be perfect, but maybe you were naive in thinking that, and it's not that person's fault, but like that's kind of what I think about that. And then the magic's not here, so they must no longer be together, or it didn't work out. I think this is probably going to piggyback off of I Knew You Were Trouble, and we're finally in the breakup stage of this relationship.
'Cause there we are again on that little town street. You almost ran the red 'cause you were looking over at me. Wind in my hair, I was there, I remember it all too well.
So the actual chorus did seem like another stream of consciousness. She's remembering parts of their relationship, maybe when they went on road trips, and she's just reminiscing on maybe the good parts.
Photo album on the counter, your cheeks were turning red. You used to be a little kid with glasses in a twin-sized bed. And your mother's telling stories about you on the T-ball team. You tell me about your past, thinking you feel
wow. One line that really stuck out to me just now was, let's see where it was at. You told me about your past, thinking your future was. You tell me about your past, thinking your future was me. That's kind of like a one line, like jab almost, where it's like, you know, I got where it's like met your family, like we've gotten to that point in a relationship where your family or you feels comfortable telling me about your past because they assume that you're going to be around for a long time, and clearly that didn't happen for her in that sense. And then another line that kind of stuck out was the end part where it says, and I know it's long gone and there's nothing else I can do. I forget about you long enough to forget why I needed to. And saying almost like short-term memories, like she has to distract herself or somebody to not let her fall back into thinking about this person because it's maybe detrimental to her to keep reminiscing on this relationship that failed. But let's just keep listening.
We are again in the middle of the night. We're dancing around the kitchen in the refrigerator light. Down the stairs, I was there. I remember it all too well.
Every time a chorus comes in, I keep saying stream of consciousness, but I know what it actually is. It's just such simple but vivid imagery. When she says dancing around in the refrigerator light, that's exactly what you think of. Like I can have that without seeing anything, I can picture that for this relationship, and I think that's kind of what makes it so connected to fans or something, because it's very vivid and you can like imagine this happening to someone. Okay, so much just came at me, like this completely changed and I have to go back to read this. Oh my gosh. I don't know why I get surprised every time when she throws a bridge at me, but maybe we got lost in translation, maybe I asked for too much, but maybe this thing was a masterpiece till you tore it all up. Wow, that's a really interesting way of saying that they got lost in translation. Maybe they weren't communicating enough, and that this could have been great. This could have been a masterpiece relationship, but they're kind of responsible for that not happening. And she's just communicating that to the person, saying like, if you would have done this, we would maybe still be together. And then running scared, I was there. I remember it all too well. And then you called me up again just to break me like a promise, so casually and cruel in the name of being honest. I'm a crumpled up piece of paper lying here because I remember it all too well. I don't know if I'm biased because I know people love this song, but that was probably one of the most gut-wrenching lyrics that I've heard from her thus far, and I feel like I've heard a lot, especially with folklore, but geez, this is a lot. It's almost like this person gets thrill out of like hurting the other person, like, and you call me up again just to break me like a promise. Like maybe they knew she would, or the narrator, whoever, was fragile about whatever was going on, and they continue to just put like salt in that wound, and all she is at this point is like almost nothingness, where she's a crumpled up piece of paper, like she's nothing to anyone and like being discarded so easily. And I wonder if this song has connection to the last track, because when I watched the video, they had like I don't know if it's a prologue or an epilogue. Prologue, maybe? Because it was at the beginning. And she said like she kind of lost herself in this relationship. And I could see that happening in this relationship as well. So I wonder if that's like a connection. So I wonder if that's like a connecting theme that has going on with this one. But geez, that's a lot. But there's still like 2 more minutes.
Too well.
I just said that. I kind of just said like that she mentioned that in the music video for the last track that she lost herself and she's clearly still trying to find it. So I really think this is about an interconnected person. But I'm getting good at this, guys.
Days and nights when you made me your own. Now you mail back my things and I walk home alone. But you keep my old scarf from that very first week, 'cause it reminds you of innocence and it smells like me. Can't get rid of it.
Nights when you made me your own and talking about innocence. I don't want to get weird with this, but that kind of makes me think of the song from Midnights where it kind of said, "Gimme back girlhood." I don't want to make assumptions about stuff like that, but when you use the word innocence right after nights when someone made you their own, kind of makes me think of something along those lines, but I will not continue to add to that narrative.
Remember it all too well. 'Cause there we are again when I loved you so. Back before you lost the one real thing you've ever known. It was rare, I was there, I remember it all too well. Wind in my hair, you were there, you remember it all. Down the stairs, you were there, you remember it all. It was rare, I was there, I remember it all too well.
Something interesting about the end of the track, most of the song has been saying from her perspective where she remembers it all too well. And then it did kind of say, like, you remember it. So maybe this person is also aware of the, I'm just going to say it, shit that they have to deal with in this relationship. But that was the end of the small version of All Too Well. I'm really interested to see like how she can add to this song and make it different with this 10-minute version. I said that I was going to kind of give a couple predictions as to what I thought it might be. And the main one I'm thinking now is like, I wonder if we're going to maybe get his or the other person's perspective of the relationship, because maybe it could be like an exile situation where she was saying in the that song where it's like, you didn't even hear me out, and the other person saying like, you didn't even give a sign. And I wonder if maybe she'll give us both perspectives of the relationship and how they perceived it falling apart, and maybe the other person didn't think that they did these things, and maybe she kind of just gives the entire story behind this. Either that or maybe she'll give more stories, because a lot of the choruses, at least with this song, was like dancing in the refrigerator, getting lost upstate. Maybe she'll just have more like scenarios of the good parts and then just do another like, but then this happened, and then it's like really bad. So that's kind of what I think it would go to next. But yeah, tell me what you think about the song. If you comment, I'd love to hear what you think. I also do want to listen to the 10-minute version, so hopefully not too many spoilers about the 10-minute version. Maybe just kind of keep it to this one. But any comment is cool. So thanks for watching.